Hello and welcome to yet another geekish video in which I display my complete and utter lack of self-control when it comes to buying books. But first, let me display for you my new and current favourite geeky t-shirt. Aliens. Alien baby. Love it. Thank you very much, Bob Roberts. I really do enjoy it. So, recent road trip up the Queensland coast, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I do like road trips. What do you do on a road trip if you're someone like me? Well, of course, what you do is books. First of all, you may have an audiobook, and we've already discussed the Mark Lawrence that I was listening to. You stop at various stops along the way and you read a short story collection. And the other thing, of course, you do is you check out any bookshop you can find and op shops that may contain books, which I did. And I think my to-read shelf has now escalated. It might be heading for the 300 mark. I better get cracking reading and reviewing some books, hadn't I? Or it will overflow my house. So this wasn't a buy, this was a gift. The Divergent trilogy with an extra, which is 4. So I read Divergent a while ago. I enjoyed it. I did think that it was a book that, one of those rare books which is actually slightly better as a movie than it was as a book. Not bad writing, just I don't think Veronica Roth's writing is aimed at as adult an audience as the movie perhaps was. I think I read one of the follow-ups, but I don't think I read the third. So one of these days I'm going to get into it and I'm going to reread all 3 of the series. Allegiant, I think that was the last one, I'm not sure. And there's an extra 4 who's a character, of course, in that movie. Thank you for those. I've got a couple of sci-fi, Star Trek-y books, and I got given this as well. So, all of those. First one I bought the day I was leaving at a dedicated little secondhand bookshop is King Arthur and His Knights of the Round Table by Roger Lancelin Green. It's a puffin story book. And I was super excited to find this. I had a copy of this when I was a child. It was my first introduction to the Arthurian Knights. I'm not a huge fan of the Arthurian, what can I call it? Mega truck running down the highway, I suppose. Everyone seems to be writing Arthurian and reading Arthurian, and they're oh so great. I did like this book though. I want to reread it, and it happens to be this gorgeous, gorgeous cover. Now this is very, very faded and well used and loved, and it's nowhere near as good condition as the one that I let go as a teenager. I'm sad about this. It's also a puffin story book, so that's aimed at children, and it's number 73. I've started to become really conscious of the puffins and the penguins and their numbers since watching another YouTube channel. Anyway, really happy to get this book back. It may be aimed at kids, but I remember that it had beautiful illustrations, black and white illustrations inside, and I am very much looking forward to getting back into this and seeing if it is how I remember. In a second-hand shop, can't remember, it might have been Vinnie's, I found Race to the Bottom of the Sea by Lindsay Edgar. Never heard of it, know nothing about it, except it's oceanic in theme, so that got me. Once I got it home, I realised, as I hadn't before, that this is probably a children's book, but a good children's book about a topic that I enjoy. I don't mind that. Sperm whale on the cover, treasure chest on the front. I'll get to it one of these days. From the rest of the journey, I did this. Bad Deborah, running out of space in the library room. But I was really happy about some of my finds. So I've got H.G. Wells' The Invisible Man. This is a modern copy, but not so modern that the ISBN isn't still on the cover. I do enjoy the cover of this, and I like in how good condition it is compared to most of my wells, which tend to be very old puffins, which disintegrate. So I'm happy about that. I didn't have The Invisible Man. I've got quite a few wells from my parents, but many of them have disintegrated. I bought the Kraken Wakes. It's a penguin. It's one of the old penguins with the number on its spine. It was in a shop. I didn't know it was going to survive. I have a copy of Kraken Wakes, though they call it, I must have the American copy, I think it's called Out of the Deeps. I just wanted to save this book, basically. Wanted to save the book. How pathetic is that? Trouble with Lichen by John Wyndham. Also, there was a lot of John Wyndham in this little store in Childers. If you are a bookaholic and you're travelling up the coast, stop in Childers. There's a really, really good old school secondhand bookshop there. Trouble with Lichen is a Wyndham that I have read but don't possess. Again, it's one of these old puffins that's still got a number on its cover. The number which you probably can't zoom in on. I can't either. Is 1986. It's in really good condition. The covers, the spines on these books often don't survive terribly well, and this spine almost looks as if it hasn't been used. So it did belong to someone who is not only written but stamped in the cover, but he took good care of it. And I love the illustration on it. Looking forward to rereading that. I haven't read that for years because I didn't have it. Okay, so maybe I've gotten a little bit silly with the whole puffin thing. Bullet and the Ballet, it's a crime puffin. I really like the old puffins that look as if they're bending in the middle like a banana. And recently I've started rereading the Allinghams and the puffins I do have. I haven't read this one though, so I got it. It wasn't that expensive, really. This place also had Jack Vance's. Jack Vance, Trillion, Alaster, 2264. And I got really excited about that. I feel like I got too excited, and I think I may already have this Jack Vance. It's not on my red shelf behind me, but I may well have it on my to-read shelf, so I may have an extra Jack Vance, Trillion, if someone's looking for one. Let me know. Hopefully in Australia. Postage to anywhere else in the world is ridiculous. Much later in my trip, I think it was the last book I bought, I found The Painswick Line by Henry Cecil. Again, getting back into my old puffins. The Henry Cecil books, Brother-in-Law, etc., were ones that I used to have the whole series of. They'd collapsed and disintegrated over time, as far as I know. So I thought I'd start getting them back. I like rereading the old books. And speaking of the old books, I was so excited about this one. Andrew J. Offit, Shadows Out of Hell. Now, I had this book a long time ago, and when I was overseas, I think I had this book. I'm not sure. It's a number 2, and I'm not sure that I ever had the first one, but I remember really, really loving this book. It was one of the ones when I had to pack to move, I nearly kept, but in the end didn't, because I thought I'd be able to find another copy, and now I have. I don't have high confidence that I will enjoy it as much as I did when I was a teenager, but I hopefully will enjoy it, and I can't wait to find out. Lewis McMaster Bujold, which I'm probably mispronouncing. Do tell me if I'm mispronouncing this. Bujold? I don't know. The Warrior's Apprentice. It's a number 3 in a series. I've read number 1, number 2. I've been looking forward to reading number 1. The 2 protagonists in the first book or 2, they have a child, and that this is apparently his story. I am looking forward to that. Probably before too long, so I don't forget what happened in the first ones. Again, from Childers. A lot of good science fiction there. This is a compilation, Elsewhere ×3 by Damon Knight. I have had this compilation. I have gotten Elsewhere, but it's not this Elsewhere, and it's certainly not this cover. I just love this cover. So blue and dull, and yeah, it's a weird cover which I thoroughly enjoy. This is a Coronet science fiction, and it is in pretty good shape, so it will probably survive me reading it. Short stories. I don't buy that many short stories, but I love Damon Knight, and the last Elsewhere I really enjoyed. Jack Vance, The Grey Prince. I am so happy about this. I didn't have it. I wanted it. I actually had that written down as one of the Jack Vances that I was looking out for, And what's more, I got it with some really, really beautiful old cover art, which is always a bonus. If you're into the science fiction cover art, it's kind of like nothing else. So I'm really happy about this little coronet. And, ooh, this one's fun. Still in the science fiction realm, Christopher Priest, Inverted World. I'm so happy about this. I used to read a lot of Christopher Priest. I don't know why I stopped doing it. And I think I was quite foolish to get rid of all the Christopher Priests I had, because I did have a lot. This is a pan science fiction. I think people call this livery, is the word. A lozenge, because of the way the title is presented. It's science fiction. It's Christopher Priest. I remember really loving it. So, and a couple of people on YouTube have recommended this recently, so I'm going to read it again. And more Jack Vance, The Brave Free Men. Didn't have this one on my I desperately want to get it type list, but I don't have it. And I'm not entirely sure if I've ever read it. And it's got flying saucers on the back of the cover. No, that wasn't it. Honestly, it was Jack Vance, not the flying saucers. But the flying saucers are a happy extra, aren't they? It wasn't, by the way, $9.50. That's just a relic of many of other experiences this particular book had through Caboolture and Queensland in general. I can't remember where I got this one, but I think this was from an actual bookshop, not from an op shop. This, however, was from an op shop. Dawn of Fear by Susan Cooper. Susan Cooper wrote children's books, and she wrote mythic fantasy fairy tale type books very, very well. I've got a couple up on the top shelf somewhere. I haven't seen this one before. It's about children during, I'm going to guess, the Second World War. Yes, Second World War, raging around them. I would like to read more Susan Cooper, and I don't have that much, so I bought this. It was in an op shop and it was $1, and worst case scenario, I don't like it. That's not a terribly bad case scenario. Okay, still with my current addiction with puffins, or in this particular case, a pelican. The Australian Aborigines, A Portrait of Their Society by Kenneth Maddock. This is a book that I actually read part of a long time ago, but I didn't own it, and so I didn't finish it. It's got that really, really naff cover art that will probably get me banned if some people see this video. I hope they don't. I don't necessarily believe that Maddock had a great handle on Aboriginal Australia, which is a point of difficulty and contention. But I like reading the older stories and the older interpretations, if only to see the depth of issues that we here in Australia have between the original inhabitants and the society that exists today. So I was quite pleased to find this, and it's in really good condition. Whoever's read it before took care of the spine. This one should last through me reading it. That won't be a fast or easy read by any means, and it may annoy me. A lot of the early books about Aboriginals can annoy me, but some of them are surprisingly brilliant. For example, I once read from a library a story, a book by someone who had travelled all around the northern and eastern coast of Australia and collected the actual Aboriginal mythology of the land, the non-sanitised version, because these days you mostly get a very sanitised version, but the original stories, they were brutal and dark and really had that mythic fantasy that you don't really see in ABC Children's Hour. Okay, still in Penguins, Penguin Modern Classics, but it's not that modern because it's number 311, Howard's End by E.M. Forster. I haven't read Howard's End. I've been meaning to read Howard's End. I've certainly heard it recommended and talked about often enough in the realms of people who read classic books. I was excited to find it, and I was excited to find it in an early edition as well. I really like the artwork on the cover. Looking forward to reading that when I get to it. And here we are, from the same shop, Jack Vance, Slaves of the Clow. Now this is a Jack Vance book that you do see around the traps quite a bit, but maybe not with that beautiful cover. I haven't seen that cover before. I really like it. It's a thin volume, and I feel like it's a cool coronet. Yes. I feel like because it's around so often, I've not picked it up before, but these older books, you need to start picking them up if you want them, because sooner or later they aren't going to be there. Night in Bombay by Lewis Bromfield. I've never heard of this one. Again, I've been over-influenced by the YouTubers who rescue penguin books. This one really got me because it had the two penguins facing across the price, which is, I'm going to say £2, 6 shillings or something else English, I'm not sure. The spine says it's number 766, but it has this dust jacket. I've never seen a paperback penguin with a dust jacket, and I was enchanted. I hope Night in Bombay is good, but if not, I still really love this book. So, there you go. Okay, Fanny and the Regent of Siam by R.J. Minnie. This is a follow-up to Anna and the King of Siam, which I do have here somewhere and did reread several years ago. It is a pan. It's in good condition. If you care about that sort of thing, it's got 78, or is it 18 written on the cover? Something like that, I don't know. This, I liked the first one. I liked it so much that its spine is now in 3 pieces, but I enjoyed the story. I love Thailand, which is what Siam is called these days. It's one of my favourite countries to travel to. So I'm looking forward to this. I have also found, after I bought it, that it's got these illustrations of people relevant to the story on the inside. I'm not going to fully open it out. So that's really exciting. I'm looking forward to that one. Charlene Harris wrote the Sookie Stackhouse books, which became a HBO, and the HBO is in many ways better than the novels, I'm going to say. She also wrote other series. One of them was the Grave series. Harper Connolly got hit by lightning, and then she could find dead people. It's a great series which I really enjoy. There's only one that I don't possess. It's a short series. I think there's only 4 books. And I am 99% its grave surprise. I've been trying to get all 4 so I can read them in sequence one of these days, and I've twice bought the wrong one by accident. Hopefully I've got it right this time. Andre Norton, The Mark of the Cat. It's not in great condition, but I recently reread a couple of the other Andre Nortons that had cat themes, and I really enjoyed them. I tried to make myself leave this one behind. It was one of the slightly more expensive ones, but I couldn't leave it behind because I don't have it, and I'm pretty sure I never had it, and I haven't read it. So yes, beautiful cover. Wrap around, beautiful cover. Originally from the Mary Ryan shop in Sydney? Brisbane. A shop I have frequented on numerous occasions. Happy about that. But best for last. So this book, I have been trying, I owned it and I read it a long time ago. I've been recommending it to various people who discuss it on the YouTubes, but I got rid of my copy ages ago. And then I regretted it and I bought another copy as to reread it again ages ago, and then I got rid of that copy. I don't know what was coming through my head at the time. Where Late the Sweet Bird Sang by Kate Wilhelm. And I found this beautiful old copy. The previous copies that I owned and read were much more new. They had a sort of 80s glossy people in jeans staring at the sunlight or whatever. And so I have actually been looking to repurchase this book for some time, and then not only did I find it, but I found it with this gorgeous, gorgeous old school cover that I absolutely love. No, it's not in great condition. It's got stickers on it, and it looks like it was at one stage. I don't know why you'd sticker that if you were at the library, or maybe it was a very old library. Inside, it is also not in good condition. It's had a long and eventful life. It's a Kangaroo Books, published by Pocket Books, New York. And I'm absolutely thrilled to get it again because I have wanted to read. Okay, so that is how I spent my money whilst travelling up the coast. Thank you for watching. If you've got opinions about these books on which I should read first, by all means tell me. I don't promise to follow those opinions, mind you. But I had a great time buying them. I expect to have a great time reading them. And thank you for watching, and read good books. Also buy good books. Or get them from the library. Just read them and enjoy them.